So let's just acknowledge what's going on here, okay? I'm being very anal about your papers, and you guys know that. Like, I mean, I've got this taxonomy of codes you're probably not used to. And it's very structured about what I expect from your papers. It's a big adjustment for many of you, and I want you to know when you get your paper back, if you have a lot of codes on there and you've got a lot of comments, the reason that I'm doing that is because it's one of my really primary objectives for this course to help you become a better writer, right? And I think it's a very important skill to have that will take you very far in your public service careers, and that's why I'm doing it this way. So do not be discouraged if you have a lot of critical feedback. Doesn't mean that you're going to get a low grade in the course. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. What I'm looking for and what I'll be grading you on for your final grade is going to be a progression. I want to see that you are taking the comments to heart, and that your next course paper is going to be closer to what we're aiming for in terms of the expectations of how you're approaching your papers in this course, and the final paper is going to be even better, right? So what I'm going to be looking for is, are you understanding the comments? Are you integrating them so that you improve your writing style in your second paper, and then even more in your final paper? I'm not expecting your first paper to have been perfect, even your second paper, but I am expecting you guys to progress. Now, when you think about grades, also, I think it's very important. You know, I give you a certain number of points out of 10 on your paper, but I really want to emphasize this, that the most important mark you get is the one you give to your own work. It's how you feel about what you've done. If you feel at the end of this course that you've made progress as a writer, that is the most important goal. It's not what I think or anyone else thinks. Because let me tell you, if you were grading my papers, you'd put codes on them and you'd find mistakes, because I'm not perfect either. None of us are. And no leader is perfect. And that's the thing. The best leaders, and I've coached tens of thousands of leaders, and I can tell you this without any shadow of doubt, the best leaders are always the ones who are very self-aware, very able to acknowledge their own mistakes, like I did at the beginning of this class and in the video, telling you, yeah, I screwed up last time, sorry. You know, leader, you have to be able to do that in your own career. You have to be able to acknowledge your strengths, acknowledge your challenges, and continually find others to help compensate where you have challenges. Don't try to do everything yourself, but also to be like brutally honest with yourself about what you're doing well, what you're not doing well. So whatever I write on your paper is actually just a fraction of your own awareness of what you did well and what you can improve on, and only you know that, right? So I think that's important to say. The reason, by the way, that I don't give you a grade on every single weekly reflective statement, because I don't believe in that. And I know a lot of professors here do that, but that's not something I will ever do unless I'm forced to, and I probably won't stay here if I'm forced to do it, because I don't believe it. I don't think it's right that you should be assessed by anyone every single week for every single few paragraphs you write. I think it creates a kind of like it creates a feeling of that it's not cultivating you as leaders, in my opinion. It's cultivating you as rule followers. And that's not my goal. You know, my goal is that you don't learn how to think more like me. You learn how to think more like yourself, like your higher self. You know, and so in my own sense of it is, again, the approval that really matters comes from within. So yeah, I'm giving you my subjective view on what you can do well and what you can improve on. And you know, I have like 25 years of experience teaching writing. Yes, I think there's going to be something useful in there for you. But the important thing is that you go in and you find what's helpful, what's not. You interpret it yourself. You filter it through your own values, your own sense of what you want to, how you want to be as a writer. And I hope you find something useful there. That's what I'm trying to do with this. The average grade for the course, remember, is a B+. Okay, so if your papers are in the average, you're going to get a B plus. You know, of course, combined with your participation in the other parts of your, the other components of the course. Even the top papers, even the top papers that I've graded have a lot of codes on them. Now, if your paper doesn't have any codes, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've done a fantastic paper. I mean, as I said, what I'm looking for is just, I want to see that you're improving throughout the course. Okay, so the main thing is I'm sharing this because I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to feel encouraged that you know, whenever we think about when someone says, okay, I've got a problem or I've got a difficulty, then we feel overwhelmed. So don't see it like that. See it like we all have challenges and we all can rise to them and keep improving, keep on getting better. So share with you a quick story. The book I have out with Simon & Schuster, I spent over 8 years trying to get it published. I had roughly 100 rejections from publishers before. So over 100 publishers told me, we don't like your book. We don't like it enough to publish it. Until I finally fortunately got a pretty high advance and got a contract from Simon & Schuster. Now my agent, all I got was an email from her saying, here's the contract from Simon & Schuster. And I was just opening my emails and all of a sudden there's, after 8 years, and not just 8 years, but roughly 8 different versions of the book. So each year after a number of rejections, I reworked it and reworked it. And this is really, I think I may have shared with you that, that persistence doesn't mean insistence. So to be persistent doesn't mean you do the same thing over and over again. It's like, like Yogi Berra is saying, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. So being, one of the leadership principles I teach is it's called be resolute in your goals and resilient in your strategy. So you're firm in what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, but you're flexible in the way you go about it. And you're continually upgrading that strategy. That's what I did as a writer. And it is really true that the best books are not written. They're rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. And so this is why I'm giving you all this feedback, because I want you to, my hope is that you leave this course a better writer than when you started it. And that you will use the writing skills you gain here to benefit you in your careers and in all of the other courses you take here, and get better grades in all your courses at CSUSB because you write really well. So I only have 10 weeks to help you do that. This is the way I'm trying to do it. So back to when I got the contract. So when I received that contract, I spent most of that night crying my eyes out. And believe it or not, you say, why? Because you finally got what you wanted? Because all I could think about were all those moments when I doubted whether it would ever happen. And I kept working at it and not knowing whether it would ever come to fruition. And it just, I was like there and visualizing the previous me before, which for 8 years before I got that email, really believing in something and never knowing, will this ever benefit anyone in the world besides me and just working on it? Will it ever, this actually going to ever help anyone? And so I just want to share that with you to say that you are not alone. When you look at your papers and you say, wow, I got a lot to improve, join the club. That's what becoming an excellent writer is all about. It's just, there's no other way. One way to think about excellent writing is like premium ice cream. Think about when you go and get like Ben & Jerry's or Haagen-Dazs or like a really good homemade ice cream mom and pop shop, that premium ice cream, every bite counts. That's how your writing should be. Now, many of you are starting to get used to citing here at CSUSB, and there's this temptation to just, oh, there's this really cool quote in this article, and let's find a way to integrate it. That's the wrong approach. You got to cite only what advances your argument. If it's not advancing your argument, your paper's not going to read well. Basically, a 15-year-old should be able to read your paper and understand it. The papers that get the best grades are the ones that are easy to understand. If I'm not sure, it's unclear, confused, it's hard to follow, that's not going to help you in your career. And that's what I'm looking for is, can you take very complex subjects and themes and simplify them and make it very clear. With, again, every byte counts, every sentence advances your argument. So don't cite for the sake of citing. Cite only because it moves your argument forward. And then one last thing, when you're doing your citations of books and journal articles and book sections, all the stuff like the catalog information, like retrieved from, DOI, you'll see that I mark those out. It's best to just take those out because it makes it messy. Yeah, no, unnecessary. Maybe retrieve from if you're like citing a website. You usually have to say the date you retrieved it, but otherwise, no. And I know I kind of laboriously went into this but I really think it's important because I want you guys to be encouraged by the feedback and next time take that feedback, study those codes, and even do a better job on your second paper, which I know you will.